The forest was quiet, with only the sound of leaves moving in the wind and an owl hooting far away. The moonlight shone through the trees, lighting up a small bundle on the ground. It was a newborn baby, wrapped in a torn blanket. The baby was crying softly, but the sound was very weak. The baby's mother, a young woman named Elena, had run away into the night, feeling very sad. She had no choice but to leave her baby behind, hoping someone would find him. As time passed, the baby's cries became quieter. The cold night air was harsh, and the little baby shivered badly. Just when it seemed like there was no hope, a pair of glowing eyes appeared in the shadows. It was a dog, a thin and dirty stray with messy fur and scars from a hard life. The dog, who would later be called Hero, slowly moved closer to the baby. He sniffed the air and heard the baby's weak cries. Hero's instincts told him to help. He had survived in the wild for months, finding food and staying safe. But this was different. This was a helpless baby who needed protection. Hero lay down next to the baby, curling his body around the little bundle to keep him warm. The baby stopped shivering as much, and his cries turned into soft, calm breaths. Hero stayed with the baby all night, watching for any danger. When the sun rose, the forest became noisy with birds and rustling leaves. Hero knew he couldn't stay in the forest forever. The baby needed more help than he could give. With a determined bark, Hero gently picked up the baby's blanket in his mouth and started walking. He didn't know where he was going, but he trusted his instincts. The journey would be hard, but Hero was determined to save the baby. The forest was vast and unforgiving, with steep hills, thorny bushes, and hidden dangers at every turn. Hero's paws ached as he navigated the rough terrain, but he refused to give up. The baby, now nestled securely in the blanket, remained quiet, as if sensing the dog's determination. Hero's mind raced with thoughts of his own past. He had once been a beloved pet, living in a warm home with a kind owner. But when his owner passed away, Hero was left to fend for himself. The streets were harsh, and the forest became his only refuge. As Hero trudged through the forest, memories of his former life flashed before his eyes. He remembered the love and care he had once received and felt a deep connection to the helpless child he now carried. Hero knew he had to protect the baby at all costs. The journey was exhausting, and Hero's strength was waning. He stopped occasionally to rest, carefully placing the baby on the ground and keeping a watchful eye on their surroundings. At one point, Hero encountered a pack of wild dogs. They growled and bared their teeth, sensing an easy meal. But Hero stood his ground, his body tense and ready to defend the baby. With a fierce bark, he charged at the pack, scattering them in different directions. The encounter left Hero with a few new scratches, but he didn't care. The baby was safe, and that was all that mattered. Hours turned into what felt like an eternity. Hero's legs trembled with exhaustion, and his mouth was dry from carrying the blanket. But just as he was about to collapse, he caught a glimpse of sunlight breaking through the trees. The edge of the forest was in sight. With renewed energy, Hero quickened his pace, his heart pounding with hope. He didn't know what lay beyond the forest, but he knew it was the baby's only chance. As Hero emerged from the trees, he found himself in a small, peaceful village. The sight of houses and people filled him with relief. He carefully placed the baby on the ground and let out a loud, desperate bark, hoping to attract someone's attention. Within moments, a group of villagers gathered around, their eyes wide with shock and curiosity. Among them was a kind-hearted woman named Maria, who immediately rushed to the baby's side. The villagers were stunned by the sight of a scruffy, malnourished dog carrying a newborn baby in his mouth. At first, they hesitated, unsure of what to make of the strange scene. But Maria, a kind-hearted woman in her late 30s, didn't waste a second. She rushed forward and gently took the baby from Hero's grasp. The child was cold and weak, but alive. Maria quickly wrapped the baby in her shawl and called for help. "Someone bring warm water and blankets," she shouted, her voice filled with urgency. The villagers sprang into action, fetching supplies and preparing a makeshift bed for the baby. Meanwhile, Hero collapsed onto the ground, his body trembling with exhaustion. His tongue hung out as he panted heavily, his eyes never leaving the baby. Maria noticed the dog's condition and knelt beside him, offering a bowl of water. Hero lapped it up gratefully, his tail wagging weakly. As the villagers tended to the baby, they began to piece together the story. It was clear that the dog had carried the child through the forest, risking his own life to save the helpless infant. Maria, who had always been fond of animals, felt a deep sense of admiration for Hero. She decided then and there that she would take care of both the baby and the dog. The baby, whom Maria named Leo, was nursed back to health over the next few days. Hero, too, was given food, water, and a safe place to rest. The bond between the dog and the child grew stronger with each passing day. Hero rarely left Leo's side, as if he knew the baby still needed protection. The villagers marveled at the unlikely friendship and often spoke of the miraculous rescue. Life in the village settled into a peaceful rhythm. But for Maria, everything had changed. She had always longed for a child, and now, fate had brought her one in the most unexpected way. Leo thrived under her care, his tiny face lighting up with joy whenever Hero was near. The dog, too, seemed to have found a new purpose in life. No longer a stray, Hero became a beloved member of the village, his bravery and loyalty earning him the respect of everyone. As the months turned into years, Leo and Hero became inseparable. They played together in the fields, explored the forest, and shared countless adventures. Hero's loyalty never wavered, and Leo adored his furry guardian. The villagers often joked that Hero was more human than dog, given his intelligence and compassion. But beneath the surface, Hero carried a secret, a deep sense of purpose that went beyond his love for Leo. He had saved the baby for a reason, and that reason would soon reveal itself. One sunny afternoon, while playing near the edge of the forest, Leo and Hero stumbled upon an old, abandoned cabin. The door creaked open as Leo pushed it, revealing a dusty, forgotten interior. Inside, they found a small wooden chest filled with old photographs and a journal. The journal belonged to Leo's birth mother, Elena. As Leo flipped through the pages, he began to piece together the story of his past. The journal revealed that Elena had been a young woman from a nearby town, forced to flee after becoming pregnant out of wedlock. She had sought refuge in the forest, hoping to protect her child from a dangerous man who had threatened their lives. Overwhelmed by fear and despair, Elena had made the heart-wrenching decision to leave her baby in the forest, praying that someone would find him. Leo's heart ached as he read his mother's words. He felt a mix of emotions: anger, sadness, and a deep longing to know more. Hero, sensing Leo's distress, nuzzled him comfortingly. Together, they decided to uncover the truth about Leo's past. Little did they know, their journey would lead them to places they never imagined and reveal secrets that would change their lives forever. Leo and Hero's discovery of the journal marked the beginning of a new chapter in their lives. The journal's pages were filled with Elena's heartfelt words, detailing her struggles, fears, and hopes for her child. Leo felt a deep connection to his mother, even though he had never known her. He decided to find out more about her and the man who had forced her to abandon him. With Hero by his side, Leo began his search. The first clue was a name mentioned in the journal: Victor, the man who had threatened Elena. Leo asked the villagers if anyone knew of a man by that name, but no one had heard of him. Determined to uncover the truth, Leo and Hero ventured deeper into the forest, retracing the steps Elena had taken years ago. The journey was not easy. The forest was vast and filled with dangers, but Hero's instincts and courage kept them safe. Along the way, they encountered kind strangers who offered food and shelter. One such stranger was an old hermit named Thomas, who lived in a small cabin deep in the woods. Thomas had known Elena and remembered her as a kind and gentle soul. "Elena used to visit me sometimes," Thomas said, his voice filled with sadness. "She was scared of Victor, a ruthless man who wanted to harm her and the baby. She left to protect you, Leo. She loved you more than anything." Leo's eyes filled with tears as he listened to Thomas's words. He realized that his mother's sacrifice had been an act of love, not abandonment. With renewed determination, Leo and Hero continued their journey, guided by Thomas's directions to Victor's last known location. After days of traveling, Leo and Hero finally reached a remote, run-down cabin on the edge of the forest. The place looked abandoned, but smoke rising from the chimney suggested otherwise. Leo's heart raced as he approached the cabin, Hero close behind him. He knocked on the door, and after a moment, it creaked open to reveal a grizzled, bitter-looking man. "Who are you?" The man growled, his eyes narrowing as he noticed Hero. "My name is Leo," the boy said, his voice steady despite his fear. "I'm looking for Victor." The man's expression changed at the mention of the name. He stared at Leo for a long moment, then sighed heavily. "I'm Victor," he admitted. "What do you want?" Leo took a deep breath and told Victor about the journal and his mother's story. As he spoke, Victor's hardened demeanor began to crack. He sank into a chair, his face filled with guilt and regret. "I never meant for any of this to happen," Victor said, his voice trembling. "I was angry and jealous, but I didn't realize the pain I caused. Elena was a good woman and I ruined her life." Leo felt a mix of emotions: anger, sadness, and pity. He realized that Victor was a broken man, consumed by his own mistakes. Hero, sensing Leo's turmoil, nuzzled his hand reassuringly. In the end, Leo chose to forgive Victor. He knew that holding on to anger would only bring more pain. With a heavy heart, he turned to leave, but not before Victor handed him a small, worn photograph of Elena. "Take this," Victor said. "It's the only picture I have of her. She would have been proud of the person you've become." Leo thanked Victor and left the cabin, the photograph clutched tightly in his hand. As he and Hero made their way back to the village, Leo felt a sense of closure. He had uncovered the truth about his past and found peace in his mother's love. Hero, ever loyal, stayed by his side, a constant reminder of the bond that had brought them together. Leo and Hero returned to the village as heroes. The villagers had heard about their journey and were amazed by their bravery. Maria welcomed them with open arms, her eyes filled with pride and relief. She had been worried sick during their absence, but seeing them safe and sound brought her immense joy. The story of Leo and Hero spread throughout the village and beyond. People came from nearby towns to meet the boy and the dog who had faced such incredible challenges. Leo became a symbol of courage and forgiveness, while Hero was celebrated as a true hero. The villagers even held a small ceremony in Hero's honor, presenting him with a shiny medal. But for Leo and Hero, life went on as usual. They continued to explore the forest, play in the fields, and spend quiet evenings by the fire. Hero's health began to decline as he grew older, but his spirit remained strong. He still watched over Leo with the same loyalty and love he had shown from the very beginning. One day, while sitting by the river, Leo noticed that Hero was struggling to keep up. The dog's steps were slower, and his breathing was labored. Leo knelt beside him, gently stroking his fur. "You've done so much for me, Hero," Leo whispered. "I don't know what I would have done without you." Hero looked up at Leo, his eyes filled with love and gratitude. He nuzzled Leo's hand one last time before closing his eyes and taking his final breath. Leo's heart broke as he held his loyal friend, tears streaming down his face. The villagers gathered to pay their respects, and Hero was buried under a tall oak tree near the forest. Hero's passing left a void in Leo's life, but it also inspired him to honor his friend's legacy. He decided to dedicate his life to helping others, just as Hero had helped him. With Maria's support, Leo opened a small shelter for stray animals in the village. The shelter became a safe haven for dogs, cats, and other animals in need, providing them with food, shelter, and love. Leo's work at the shelter brought him a sense of purpose and fulfillment. He often shared Hero's story with the children who visited, teaching them about loyalty, courage, and kindness. The shelter became a place of hope and healing, not just for animals but for the entire community. Years passed, and Leo grew into a kind and compassionate man. He never forgot Hero and often visited the oak tree where his friend was buried. One day, while sitting under the tree, Leo noticed a small puppy wandering near the river. The puppy looked scared and hungry, just like Hero had all those years ago. Leo approached the puppy slowly, offering a piece of bread. The puppy wagged its tail and licked Leo's hand, its eyes filled with trust. Leo smiled, feeling a sense of déjà vu. He picked up the puppy and carried it back to the shelter, knowing that Hero's spirit would always guide him. As the sun set over the village, Leo felt a deep sense of gratitude. He had come a long way from the abandoned baby in the forest, and he owed it all to the love and loyalty of a homeless dog. Hero's legacy lived on in Leo's heart and in the lives of the countless animals he had saved. And so, the bond between a boy and his dog became a timeless tale of love, courage, and redemption. Leo's animal shelter became very popular in the village and nearby towns. People brought stray animals to the shelter, and many came to adopt pets. Leo worked hard every day, making sure all the animals were happy and healthy. He named the shelter Hero's Haven, in honor of his loyal friend. One day, a little girl named Mia came to the shelter with her parents. She was shy and quiet, but her eyes lit up when she saw the puppy Leo had rescued near the river. The puppy, now named Buddy, wagged his tail and ran to Mia. They became instant friends. "Can I adopt Buddy?" Mia asked, her voice filled with hope. Leo smiled and nodded. "Of course. Buddy needs a loving home, and I think you two will be great together." Mia's parents agreed, and Buddy went home with them. Leo felt happy knowing that Buddy would have a good life, just like Hero had given him. Over time, many animals found loving homes through Hero's Haven, and Leo's dream of helping others was coming true. Years passed, and Leo became a well-known figure in the community. His shelter had saved hundreds of animals, and his story inspired many people. But Leo never forgot Hero. Every year, on the anniversary of Hero's passing, Leo visited the oak tree where his friend was buried. He would sit under the tree, remembering all the adventures they had shared. One day, while visiting the tree, Leo noticed a small plaque placed near the base. It read, "In memory of Hero, the dog who saved a life and taught us the true meaning of love and loyalty." Tears filled Leo's eyes as he read the words. He realized that Hero's legacy was not just about saving one life but about inspiring countless others. The bond they had shared was timeless, a reminder that love and kindness could change the world. As Leo grew older, he passed on the responsibility of Hero's Haven to a new generation. But he always stayed involved, sharing his story and teaching others about the importance of compassion. The shelter continued to thrive, a living tribute to Hero's courage and Leo's dedication. One evening, as the sun set over the village, Leo sat by the river with Buddy, now an old dog. He smiled, thinking about how life had come full circle. Just as Hero had saved him, he had saved Buddy, and now Buddy had brought joy to Mia's life. Leo looked up at the sky and whispered, "Thank you, Hero. You will always be my hero." And so, the story of Leo and Hero became a legend, passed down from generation to generation. It was a story of love, courage, and the unbreakable bond between a boy and his dog, a bond that would live on forever.